Your hens want to run free, but you may have predators lurking in the forest. Hi, I'm Michelle from JMC Family Farms. In this video, I'm going to share with you some tips to help protect your chickens when you're free ranging them all winter long. Winter has arrived in Ontario and we have what are called red sex-lynx chickens. So they are a really hardy bird. So for us here in Ontario, that's a really good choice because they are able to adapt to the winter, and without a lot of extra work, they actually do quite well. So that's the type of bird that we have chosen. This winter, our girls have actually had to stay in their coop and in their run a lot more frequently. We've had a fox here about a month and it comes back every morning and every night. Typically that is their routine, and they get to know what your hen's routine is. So in our area, our primary predators are the fox. We also get fishers as well as coyotes. So here they're very well protected. Their doors are shut at nighttime just in case there was something like a weasel or a ferret or something that could technically get through those holes, but it cannot get through into their coop at nighttime, so they are safe. Depending on where you live, depend on what type of predators that you could have in your area. There could be foxes, raccoons. It depends on the temperature, what's hibernating, what's not hibernating. A question for you: what are your primary predators in your particular area? And again, it's going to depend on, we're in Canada, so it's very different than if you were somewhere in the south part of the US. So what type of predators are in your area? So where we live right on a river, and we're also surrounded by a bush. So our animals are far more at risk of being attacked by a predator than if you lived in an open area where there were no woods, there was no natural waterway, and you had open fields, or if you lived in town and the area was more protected. For us, being right on a river is a natural pathway for animals. So those animals are drawn to the water because it's a water source for them. This poses another risk for our hens for predators. So we do have to be really careful. I'm going to show you the little path that so we have not just coyotes and predators, but we would also have deer, and then also things like beaver, otters, just different things that are coming up along the water. I'm going to show you the path that they actually use. It's a little bit hard to see on the camera, but you can see right there. That's just a natural path that the animals take along the side of the river, and then they can go down to the river. Live in an area like this, if you do have just a big open space, one thing that you can definitely have is a guardian dog or guardian dogs. So that's something to consider if you do live in a particular area like this, where you're more at risk of having predators that really are lurking in the forest, just watching your chickens. So when we're letting the girls out, we typically would let them out around noon, and then we're putting them back inside before dusk, because that is a time that we can be outside, we're watching them. The thing with predators is it's just their natural instinct that they are looking for food. So they're searching. A chicken loose in the yard, an easy meal for them to have. And unfortunately, my chickens look extremely delicious. People often don't consider natural pathways that are created within your own property. For instance, your driveway, you shovel your driveway, and depending on where you live, that could be a beautiful highway for any sort of predator, maybe crossing from a bush across the road into your property. Natural pathways caused by where you're going with your tractor, ATVs. We get so much snow that we blow or shovel areas for our chickens so that it's just easier for them to move in the snow, because when they get into the snow, they sink. And even for us, just moving from the barn to the chicken coop, it's much easier for us to just get through if we have a path. But the problem with that is that it then becomes a natural highway for your predators. I'm going to show you. So we're in our bush right now. This is a path that we take often in the bush, just to prove a point that it too becomes a highway for predators. So let me show you.
You can see these tracks. There's fox, coyote, rabbit, squirrel. There's all sorts of things that go along these natural pathways from trails that you've created in your bush and you didn't even realize.
Like humans, animals would rather walk on a pathway that's like this rather than walking in deep snow. So if they can choose to jump on a snowmobile trail and walk on that, it's packed, it's hard, and it's much easier to get to where they need to go to look for their next meal. Something that I've found that's been really helpful for my girls is if you can teach your hens come to you when you call them, and this sounds extremely ridiculous, but it actually works. They associate us with food. So pick a name that you will use, and you need to be consistent. I always just say girls, and when they see me come outside and they're loose and they're free ranging and I yell girls, they come running. It's really helpful if they go too close to, say, a road, if they get into the woods. At our place, they'll go to the back garden. We have a garden at the very back. So this way, if they hear me calling them, they always come because they associate me with food. Our girls absolutely love mealworms. And if I bring mealworms, they come on the tear. But typically, they will just come because they know that it's me and that I'm gonna feed them something. It's gonna help you so much in situations where if a predator, for instance, like a fox or something, if you saw it and you could call them and get them back in their coop quickly, that will definitely make a huge difference for you. Something that's been so helpful for us is this area that we built under our coop. So our coop is raised, and I'll put a link to the video right here on your screen, and it will show before the snow arrived around the bottom of this area is exactly what it looks like, and you can see how we use that extra space. So if you build your coop on the ground, of course you can't use this, but this has been super helpful for us. It gives our hens extra area that they can go in the winter times. Prefer to allow our girls to free range as much as possible all winter long. We just need to make sure that they're safe. In Ontario, winters can be extremely difficult because of the amount of snow that we get and the frigid temperatures. Make sure you check out the video on your screen right now so that you can see how we keep our hens warm all winter long. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.